We welcome you back to the Two Guys Named Chris show and welcome in our official attorney, Lisa Lanier. The segment is Lawyer Up. We're inside at least, several legal stories, and she solves them all. We got a breaker here from the Menendez brothers looking to go on parole. We'll get to that first. Lisa, hello, and how are you?
I'm fantastic. Hope you guys are.
Doing very well. Thank you. We just discussed that yesterday Erik Menendez was denied parole by a California parole board after 36 years now since he and his brother Lyle murdered their parents in California. And now we're wondering, is it possible that Lyle, who goes in front of the parole board today, may be granted parole while Erik stays in jail, to which Erik would say, it was his idea. He was the one. No fair.
Right.
He bought the guns.
Fair. Right.
He's the guy. Well, first of all, why was Erik officially denied parole? Does this mean for sure that he won't get out of prison? And what do you think will happen with Lyle?
So the parole commission took this very, very seriously. Normally these hearings last about 2 to 3 hours. This one went on for almost 10 hours.
Whoa.
And they poured over evidence, asked him a million questions. And what they focused in on was, why'd you kill your mama?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they basically said, like, we get that, you were sexually abused. That's terrible. She didn't do it. You didn't have to kill her.
Right.
And then the other thing they focused in on is, hey, Erik, you committed a whole bunch of crimes while incarcerated. So you still don't think the law applies to you. And we think that means that you will do this again. You have a propensity to commit crimes. That makes you a danger to people on the outside. And so you're going to stay in here, and we'll see you in 3 years when you can revisit this.
Well, now,
tell us about the crimes on the inside.
There's the question, yes.
So he a lot of fighting that he was involved in, and he was purchasing cell phones very regularly. And when you do that, apparently you have to pay a lot of money for them. He was paying like $1,000 a pop for cell phones, which means that it's so much more complicated than just, okay, he bought a cell phone. It means that guards were smuggling them into him, so he was involving guards. And when you do it, you have to go through these brokers who are gangs, and they get the money. And, so it's just this whole – so he was involved in just a whole bunch of bad stuff, mainly fighting and cell phones. Other contraband, he would acquire other contraband. That was manipulating guards. That was another thing. So he was not a good guy.
Now, but all I had heard leading up to this was like, these guys have been model prisoners. They've been wonderful.
No, apparently not. Apparently not. Now, to your point about Lyle, he has not had nearly the number of – he said fewer infractions, but he was more – heinous and brutal in the killings.
Yes.
And so we think that that'll probably mean that he'll have a similar outcome, because he does have infractions, just not as many. And he has to answer not just why'd you kill your mama, but to his brutality. Mm-hmm. And supposedly that he was the mastermind.
He was, yeah.
Are these hearings? At least I don't believe they were televised, but is all this stuff public record?
No, they're not they're not televised, and you're not allowed to report on them until they conclude. But they're always in and out in a day, almost always.
I guess my follow-up question would be this: Mr. Menendez, thank you for coming in. We'd like to start with, why'd you kill your mama?
That's the first.
Right.
So is his
Why'd
answer on tape?
Right.
Yeah. What is the answer? What did he say?
His answer was that she knew all about it, and she was complicit in it, and he came to see her as one with the dad. Okay. And in acting in concert against the boys.
That's on brand.
Yeah.
Everything
totally.
I know is on brand.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. If Lyle walks out of there past his cell, I bet he's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right. Right.
This is he. Oh yeah. He got me to do it. Oh right. Well, you know what?
That's why I'm fighting in here.
That's
why I'm pulling cell phones out of guards' butts.
This guy
paying $1,000 for not even an Apple phone.
It's a jitterbug.
It's a flip phone.
It's a flip phone I paid $1,000 for.
This is from Mint Mobile, for Christ's sake. What are we doing here? I'm glad. Good. I'm glad that he's not getting out of jail. I told you my feelings on this, and I hope Lyle doesn't either.
Too. I don't really think they ought to get out. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But clearly, once again, Chris Kelly, you fell for what the attorneys and the media was telling you. Because you were like, I thought they were model prisoners.
Well, that's what they said.
Yeah.
So they said the whole time.
Do you think, Lisa, if he had been a true, indeed model prisoner, no cell phones, no fights, helped out in the cafeteria, led Bible studies, led whatever, And do you think that would have been enough to get this person paroled yesterday?
I actually do think it would have been because, now their sentence has been reduced to 50 years and they've served 30 of that.
Mm-hmm.
And in that situation, if he had been a model prisoner and he had all of this awful sex abuse stuff that they now completely believe, which they didn't before, but now there's been enough corroboration that they completely believe it. Yeah, I think he would have gotten out. And they kind of said, do better and come back in 3 years. And so I think in 3 years he might get out.
I hope not. You know why?
Yeah.
Killed his mother. Didn't need to.
Killed his mama. Why did not have to kill his mama?
That's right. That's right. And I'll stand against him forever. Oh, both of them, especially Lyle. Lyle really was the ringleader of the thing. Listen, and I've done the research on this. I saw the scripted show. I've seen it. I saw it on Netflix.
We watched Netflix, right? We know.
Yes, we watched Netflix. That's right. We have a.
They don't have Netflix in prison, do they, Lisa?
Oh man. They might.
He does have television. He might because that was one of the things he said. They said, "Why'd you smuggle all these cell phones?" He said, "I was trying to stay up on the news and particularly about my case to prepare." And they were like, "Oh, we call BS on that because there's televisions everywhere here. You could have been watching the news."
Could have known it already.
Do you know? This is kind of sort of off topic, but if someone is incarcerated, like a Menendez or Charles Manson or Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. Can they speak with the outside world, or does it have to be tightly controlled?
Yeah, we had absolute telephone privileges. That was one of the other things that the parole board said, is that even if you couldn't catch it on the news, you could have asked your family and your telephone use. Yeah, they get
okay.
Call like on a payphone.
To like the payphone type phones. Yeah,
exactly. Shifting gears now. You talk about audacity. Big E has chronicled A-hole City for us this week, and this guy's from there. His name is Gary Scholler. He used to own the Edward Teach Brewery in Wilmington, North Carolina, arrested because he went to a Longhorn Steakhouse with his dog at the steakhouse and was feeding.
Not a service dog, right?
Not a service, just a dog. A dog, that's right. And started feeding the dog from his plate. The waitress came over and said, "I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do that in here." And he took his plate, threw it at the waitress. It hit her in the head. She got a fractured skull, hairline fracture. He was charged with assault, and now he has filed civil suit against her because he said she was aggressive in telling him to not have the dog in the restaurant or feed the dog. Lisa, let's throw the book at this guy. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they are. And this is not his first, go round with this kind of thing. He got in some trouble and went kind of viral on social media a while back because he kind of went, ballistic on I think a guitarist or somebody that was doing live music in his brewery. But this time he actually tried to sue the wait person, and he filed a civil suit. The day after he got out of jail, he went out and took out a summons trying to file civil charges claiming that the waiter hit him first. And then that's been dismissed. That's already been dismissed. A little update. I think it was just dismissed yesterday.
Well, I'd hope.
So yeah, he's gonna, this guy. I mean, it was very clear, and fractured the skull of this waitress on a waiter. Terrible.
How dare that's audacity to start to try and sue.
Yeah, and the brewery's in trouble. The brewery's closed, and it's they lost their liquor license. He tried to put he did something illegal that he got a charge from the alcohol commission, so that meant he couldn't hold an alcohol license again. And so then he tried to transfer it to his sister, whose name it's in now, and it's currently closed, they say, for renovations, but who knows?
Well, I'm glad to hear they're coming down hard on him.
I got a few messages and emails saying that the beer at the brewery was very good, though.
Too bad.
Damn.
Yeah, people were like, "Yeah, this is terrible," but by the way, he makes some good beer.
Guy deserves a good beer.
Guy makes a fine beer.
Yeah.
There is a woman in Alabama who is fighting her homeowners association. Usually you lose these fights. She would draw motivational chalk art in her driveway every day that kids could see as they walked by during the summer or on the way to the school bus and whatnot. But one neighbor has complained to the homeowners association saying, "Don't like it. It lowers property values. I don't like a lot of chalk in the driveway." In protest, this woman, whose name is Mackenzie from Alabama, says she will get up every day at 6 a.m. and draw the chalk art, leave it out through the day, and wash it off at night, complying with the HOA regulations. But apparently the neighbor is not satisfied with that and wants to make sure that chalk art is not in her driveway. Can the HOA stop her, Lisa? What do you think?
Yeah, it depends on what the HOA rules say. Usually, if they're very specific about chalk, they can go so far as to prohibit chalk drawings. Here, the HOA, I think, said that they weren't completely prohibited, but that you couldn't leave them up or leave them out.
Yep.
And so that's where they came down with. So it was the HOA that came down with the ruling that said she just had to wash it every night. And so this lady truly is getting up every morning. So she leaves it on until night, washes it, gets up at 6 a.m. every morning and is out there redrawing this stuff so that it stays up during all waking hours. She's got a little bit too much time on her hands.
Yeah.
To make a point.
I mean, really?
But I mean, I'm with her on the, she's got a 2-year-old and she gets out there and I think he's almost 3. She gets out there and draws with the kid. She's a stay-at-home mom. The neighbor, what kind of a jerk, complains about sidewalk chalk?
That's what Biggie was saying. What kind of jerk calls into the HOA? Now, that'd be me, of course, calling
Without a doubt.
Calling in saying, I don't want any art on a driveway.
Yes, there's chalk visible from my
chalk.
nook, my breakfast nook.
Children.
I can't be eating at my breakfast nook and look out there and see a ray of sunshine in chalk on a driveway.
Or have a nice day and a smiley face.
And she does little uplifting quotes with hers, too. She does love your neighbor, have a wonderful day, be a ray of sunshine,
Gross. Even worse. Awful. It's awful. How about this now? 2 airlines in the crosshairs, Delta and United, and this is in California, there's a class action lawsuit because I didn't even know this was a thing until recently. Apparently, you can pay more if you want a window seat. If you buy a ticket and you want to be next to the window so you can see out during the flight to sightsee, or maybe you want to lean against the window, you can pay for a window seat. But now there's a class action lawsuit against Delta and United because some of the planes, even though it's technically called a window seat, there is no window. You're in a bulkhead and whatnot, and so you just have wall to look out, not window. And they say you should not be allowed to upcharge somebody for a window seat when there is no window. Lisa, who's going to win this, the class action or the airlines?
Yeah, I think they have a point there. It's weird because, I travel a fair amount. I've never seen a situation where I had to pay extra for a window seat. One of my kids really loves a window seat, and we always try to arrange for that. But
yeah.
I've never had to pay extra for it. I think that's odd. But if you're going to upcharge it, then there needs to be a window there if that's what you're calling it. Now the airline is saying, look, we call that the window seat. It's a referral. It's to the position of the seat, not that it's a guarantee of a window. But then don't charge extra for it, right? Because the whole idea is that you can see out of the plane, right?
Right.
Why else would you want to be tucked up in there?
The only other reason I can think of is because people like to lean
a tiny bit of extra space to one side.
Yeah, they lean up against the wall. Yeah, that's true.
Lean up to sleep on that. But I'm with you. If you're going to say it's a window seat, you must have a window. That seems like common sense to me.
Yeah. I think they might have to pay that up.
Another lawsuit filed now. We had this recently. Was it what was the brand recently? It was like
Columbia. It was Columbia.
Columbia University.
The university versus the clothing company.
But now it's Baylor University filing a lawsuit against Boston University. They have very similar logos. BU, Baylor University, Boston University. It's an interlocking B and U. And Baylor says that the BU from Boston, Baylor had it first back to 1912 is when they got the trademark. Baylor says BU's version, Boston University's version, is confusingly similar and violates an agreement that was signed in 1988 between the two schools. I'll say they're almost identical, but they're different colors. Baylor's colors are green and gold, and Boston is like red and white or red and black.
Maroon, yeah.
What do you think here, Lisa? They look almost identical, the B and the U. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think here Baylor has the stronger position, much like in the Columbia lawsuit that we were talking about the other day. Very similar circumstances. In 1988, Baylor and Boston University entered into an agreement where Boston University agreed not to use the interlocking logo. And then here they are, fast forward to, they said, Baylor says starting in 2018, all of a sudden they started using the interlocking logo in violation of that contract because they'd already settled this. Exact same thing happened in the Columbia suit.
Yeah.
Just slip it into the school bookstore.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why they started appearing on merch in the school bookstore.
Now, do you think Boston University knows we're trying to slip one by here, and maybe Baylor won't notice.
Or a new graphic artist came along and said, hey, why don't we interlock the B and the U?
Right. And
Yeah, I think maybe they just forgot. You know why? Because it's bound to be a whole different group of administrators and artists and merchandising people, and they probably just forgot why they didn't use it. And they probably were sitting around thinking, for some reason we stopped using the interlocking letters. Let's do it again. Didn't look into it.
Yeah. But, where the rubber meets the road here, does it really affect Baylor? I mean, they don't share fans. One's up in the Northeast, one's down in Texas. And even though they're similar, because the colors are different, is it really costing them anything, Baylor University, do you think?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, it's not like it. And like you said, the colors are so dramatically different, and the universities are so dramatically different, not just in their geography, but kind of in their mission. Baylor is a Christian college, and Boston University is, I think, larger and big liberal arts school. And it's just very different. I don't see, but they're in the same sector. And so, same business sector. And so it means, that people want to protect their brand in those situations. And they started protecting it way back when and entered into this contract. And, it's been violated. So they're going to flex their muscle and, enforce their rights.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, one of my brothers, Lisa, got a degree from BU. So I've been to BU, Boston.
Yeah, right.
One of his many degrees.
Yes. Do you think if they hadn't signed the agreement in 1988, just if Baylor had the trademark from 1912, would Boston University be in trouble, or would they win this case?
Well, I think the problem is that when you're in the exact same business sector, that tends to be a problem. The way the courts tend to look at it is, if Boston University was not Boston University but something else, and they were selling, chicken pot pies or something, they would say no sweat, right?
Right, yeah.
Because you're in a whole different market. But here, college, I think they would probably.
Are there other BUs?
There's Baylor, but probably are. They probably are.
There's Brown?
Yeah, probably. They can't use them either, I guess. This is sports related as well. There's a guy named Drake Solomon. He played Rocky the Mountain Lion for the Denver Nuggets as their mascot, and he is suing now because he says he was wrongfully terminated. He was diagnosed with a hip condition, had to undergo surgery, and once he got out of surgery, he found out the team's holding tryouts to replace him because he can't do the leaps anymore as the mountain lion. But he says that he still should have remained employed, and they did it. It was dirty the way they did him. Lisa, what do you think? Now, he's got a hip condition that, in my mind, would preclude him from being the Denver Nuggets mascot. Can they go on and hire somebody else without him?
Yeah, so he's filed his case under the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, which does require reasonable accommodations where an employee becomes disabled. But I think he's in a little bit of trouble because they have, if you have a condition that prohibits you from performing an essential function of the job and it can't really be accommodated, and if it's a bona fide qualification for the job, then they can get rid of you. And I think here that's the case, right? Because here he absolutely needs to be able to jump and flip and do all the things. And if he can't do that, he can't do the essential functions of the job.
Exactly. Exactly. I hated to be against the guy.
Yeah.
You hate it.
Yeah. And the Nuggets are my Western Conference team.
Irrelevant.
So
Completely irrelevant.
it bothered me, but still, it just felt.
Remember, Biggie wanted to come to work barefoot.
There's the whole legacy thing. There's the whole legacy because his dad was the former mascot.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was passed down to him. So there's a whole kind of thing about that.
Here's the giant smelly head, son.
Passed from one generation to the next.
Mascot head.
Chris Tim is right. Biggie woke up fairly recently with swole feet. And he said, I can't come in unless
My shoes don't fit.
I can't. He couldn't get his shoes on. And I said, come to work anyway. He said, do you want me to come barefoot? I said, yes. Yes, I do.
Is that a reasonable accommodation?
Is that
It is, actually. That is a reasonable accommodation.
Yeah, see?
I thought so. Put your socks on and get on in here. Let's go. Let's go. Lisa Lanier, our official attorney of this program. Find her at lanierlawgroup.com or hireaheavyweight.com. She's president there. Lisa, thank you very much as always.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You as well. That's it. We will have Put Up or Shut Up rock and roll trivia next. It's a game where you'll play me, Chris Kelly, not Chris Dem today. Caller 14. I have $37 in my pocket. I counted last night. 74 is what you're playing for because it doubles on Fridays. Thanks to Lisa Lanier. She throws in the second part of that. $74. 10 questions about music and rock and roll trivia. First for you, then for me. This is my theme song. We play next. Two Guys Named Chris show.